Hi everyone, I'm Donna Stellhorn, your practical astrologer, and today we are talking about the full moon. It's on June 11, it's at 20 degrees of Sagittarius, and it is making a square to the north node and a square to the south node, which means that we're all at a crossroads, and we need to make a choice. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about love and money predictions, and at the end of this video, I'm going to talk about one of your four money houses and how to draw money. So the north node and the south node are this continuous strand of energy. The south node represents your past lives, and what you need to release so that you can move forward. The north node represents where you're heading, and if you head in that direction, you find success and happiness. But the temptation is to stay in the south node because it's familiar, and for a while it will feel safe and certain. But over time, this energy just disintegrates and you're left with nothing. So this full moon is sitting square the north node and square the south node. So kind of picture yourself at a T intersection and you have a choice. You can go towards the south node or you can go towards the north node. Now the south node is in Virgo, so that means that it represents the patterns that you know, the routines you know, the schedule that you know. And so that's like making the same breakfast every morning. It's driving the same route to work, talking to the same people, that, so that it does, again, feel somewhat safe and comfortable, but it's not going to help you grow. It's not going to help you achieve your goals. Now, the north node is in Pisces, and Pisces is this force for creation. So if you think of Aries as being the first sign, Pisces is right before that. So Pisces is the idea or the vision that you have that then things get created out of. And so Pisces is this more holistic view of things. It goes beyond like making a living, and it's about living well. It goes beyond how you describe yourself, and the groups that you belong to, and all the little identifications, and it reminds you that you're part of the universe. And being part of the universe means you can tap into the abundance that's there. So you're at this crossroads now with a choice of exploring something new and investigating that idea and seeing if you can take this vision and turn it into reality. Or you can choose the south node, which is doing the same things you've done before and being in that same routine and stuck in those chores and those endless tasks. Now, that's not to say that laundry doesn't need to get done and dishes don't need to be washed. Those things do need to happen, but this is where you don't make it your entire existence, that you carve out a little bit of time, even just a few minutes a day, so that you can work on the things that are going to bring you real happiness. So this is full moon energy. So it is the busiest time of the whole lunar cycle. And so you're busier now than even usual, which is saying a lot. But you want to stop for a moment and just picture what you want for future cycles. You want to think about maybe what you want to get going on the new moon in a couple of weeks. And if you would like to know what's ahead for you in 2025 and 2026, I do readings. These are live readings by Zoom where we go through your chart and your questions. You can record this session. And so there is a link in the description that gives you more information. Okay, Aries, this full moon is lighting up your area of education, travel, and your faith. And so you might be at a crossroads right now about whether to go back to school or maybe about a trip, traveling somewhere, or maybe getting more involved in your church or synagogue or your temple. And so the south node, north node dynamic is the south node would be staying really busy, not really thinking about this, focusing on your job or focusing on, daily aspects of your health. But the north node says to go inward, to listen to your higher self, listen to the universe, use spiritual means to decide these questions. That could mean pulling tarot cards, talking to your minister, your rabbi, like all of these different, more spiritual methods are the solution. Now, when it comes to your relationships, your friendships, and your connections, there's no aspect going on between Venus and Mars. And so right now, it may not feel like a priority for you, or perhaps you feel like there's a disconnect happening, like you want to go to social occasions to meet new people, but those social occasions aren't happening right now. Or you are too busy, or your partner who you want to interact with is off traveling somewhere. So this is a time to really focus on yourself and focus inward and look to clear blocks and to talk to the universe and things like that. And then this relationship energy will line up better as we go forward. Now, when it comes to your money, you pull money from Venus, which is very active in this chart and in its own sign. And so there's more clarity of purpose for you right now. Perhaps you had many different options and now you know the direction that you want to go. This is also a time, though, that you have to do all those little things to get something going, and I know that sounds like contradictory when I said that you're so busy right now and you are doing those things, but there needs to be something where you prioritize rather than just go for busy work. So always ask yourself, is this action going to lead to money if it's a money thing that you're working on? Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, Venus is making a square to Pluto. That is a very active energy that could bring you more money over the next 2 weeks. So this is that it's necessary for you to take action. And if you've been thinking about doing something with investments or your business, it's time to take massive action. This is the full moon. So this is the culmination of things. This is the party. This is when to do something big, like launch something or make an announcement. Now, when it comes to money from career, so that would be like a paycheck, Venus is only making a semi-sextile to Uranus. Now, it's still an aspect, and both planets are in your money house, both are in a money sign. So this says that there is there's a little bit of energy here, and if you pull on that string, something could open up. So it is worth talking to someone about, especially if this conversation has already started. Otherwise, Venus is going to catch up with Uranus, and you're going to get that conjunction pretty soon. So you may want to just wait until these two line up in the future. Welcome to the third section of this video, where I'm going to make a couple of announcements, and then we're going to talk about one of your 4 money houses and how to draw money to you. The new month wishes class is on June 1st. It's at 12 p.m. Pacific time. And now there is a much easier way to register for this class. So just click on the link in the description to register. This is a free class where we talk about the astrological happenings for the month, and then we write our wishes together, and then we energize them together in a short meditation. I know this date and time doesn't work for everyone, but if you can't come but you're interested, sign up anyway, because you will get information about how to write your wishes for the month. Also, if you like astrology and you love black cats, then you're going to love my newsletter. It's an illustrated guide for the happenings of the week, and it's free to sign up. There's a link in the description. Also, I have some videos coming out that are more about the world perspective for some of these major aspects that are happening. These are videos that are members only, and so if you would like to join and become a member, that would be fantastic. It's only $2.99 a month, and there is going to be these exclusive videos, also instructional videos. These videos go into astrology more deeply. And so if you're interested in this, there is a join button by the subscribe button. So let's talk about finding the hidden money in your chart. You have 4 money houses in your chart: the 2nd house, 5th house, 8th house, and 11th house. And you may have planets in some of these houses. You may have planets in all of these houses. You may have planets in none of these houses. That doesn't matter, because sometimes planets can bring some benefits, but sometimes they can bring some real challenges. So the most important thing is to work with the energies. So when you're looking at your chart, the line that sits between the 1st house and the 2nd house is called the 2nd house cusp. Now, I use a house system called Placidus, and there are about 20 house systems out there. This one that I use is probably the most popular one used by modern astrologers, and I think it gives you the most accurate information. And so when you're running your charts, if you're using one of those free apps, set the house system to Placidus. That's going to give you the most information about your money. So your second house cusp, that line between the first house and the second house, has a sign at the end of it, so on the outer part of the wheel. And that sign is quite important. Now, I've been going out and doing some teaching lately, and I've seen people using apps that don't have the sign printed at the end of the cusp. And so if that's the case with your chart, you have to go to the list that it gives you. Hopefully it gives you a list. And if it doesn't, or if you're not sure, you can send me an email and I will send you a copy of your chart. There's a link in the description. So that sign on the second house cusp actually shows you how you handle money, and the ruler of that sign shows you where you are pulling money from. But let's first focus on the sign itself and how you handle money. If you have Aries on the second house, you want to make your money quickly, you want to make your own money, and any sort of obstacle can frustrate you. And so that can make it difficult sometimes if you are starting a business or doing something that takes a lot of time. So for you, the best thing would be to break things down into very small increments so that you could be constantly doing these new tasks so that you could build something toward revenue. If you have Taurus on the second house, then you feel that you want this comfortable environment. You want to have the tangible things that represent money. And so that can be why you go shopping, so that you can have these items, because that makes you feel safe and secure. But you could also feel quite comfortable by having large amounts in your accounts. And so by shifting your mindset towards, I don't need this physical item, I need those physical dollars in my account, then you can start to accumulate. Now, if you have Gemini on the second house, then you talk about money, you think about money, you may shift back and forth from some very practical investments to some wild schemes. And so, but a lot of the money activity is going on in your head, and it needs to come down into the practical world. And so it's very important when you're having all of these ideas about how to make money is to pick something, or better still for Gemini, pick two things so that you can work on those things, toggling back and forth. Now, if you have Cancer on the second house, you are very sensitive to the fluctuations of your money. And that's because Cancer is ruled by the moon, and the moon grows and shrinks every month. And so you need to recognize that there are patterns in how your money flows, that sometimes it's flowing in and sometimes it's just a little trickle, or that sometimes your bills are manageable, but sometimes they are bigger. And as you recognize the cycles of things, then you get into the flow and money can come in and you can feel more comfortable. You also do need to be aware that your family, and that can be extended family, can either step in to help or hinder your progress. And so you want to make sure that you're allowing family to help, but also creating some boundaries if your family is hindering your progress. Now, if you have Leo in the second house, then you have this sort of identity tied up with money. And that means that as you're creative, as you express yourself, more money can come in. Now, it's actually that money is one of your talents. So now, it's also true, though, that with Leo in the second house, that you like to make a grand display. And so you're more likely to buy friends presents or to be lavishly giving gifts to family members. So you're quite generous, and that's wonderful, but it's also, you want to make sure that you have enough before you start giving it all away. But the bottom line here is that using your creative talents, you can bring in the money. Now, if you have Virgo in the second house, you're quite careful with your money. You are looking at the dollars as well as the pennies, and that's good. Of course, you want to be aware that how much the other things can cost you. So you don't want to drive clear across town to save a few pennies on gas, because obviously. So you also are quite good at keeping track of money, and as you do, more money comes. As you pay attention to your investments, as you open your statements and look through these things, you will find that you have more and more money growing. Now, if you have Libra on the second house, sometimes you're more interested in the balance of things, and that could be work-life balance, or the balance of, somebody gives you something, so you want to give them something. And so you're more interested in fairness than actually making the money. And so if money is very important to you, or if you're really needing it, you're going to have to skew that balance until you in your mind see it as balanced. And sometimes that's just looking at things differently. When you think of how much somebody else might be making versus yourself, then perhaps some balance is achieved. So this is also with Libra, you could tend to maybe skimp on some of the necessities so that you can buy the things that you really want. If you have Scorpio on the second house, then you're very interested in money, and you probably want to do some sort of investing or create some passive income. It is likely that you have some hidden money that you keep for emergencies, maybe something that your spouse doesn't even know about. And you also have the hopes that you can make a lump sum of money or have a big win. If you have Sagittarius there, you can be a little cavalier about your money and money management. It's the Sagittarius gives you some luck, but because you have luck, it sometimes doesn't give you the push to go make more. It's like you were a little bit short for rent, but then you reach in your pocket, you find $100 and rent is made, versus you saying, okay, I have all of these skills and intelligence and cleverness, I could go make more money. But why, when luck just seems to happen? If you have Capricorn on the second house, you work hard for your money, and money seems to come in slowly. It feels like it comes in small amounts until one day you look around and you have much more than everyone else around you. So one of the things, the benefits that this is because it gives you the impression you have to work so hard, you are constantly working for it, and you do have more ability to bring it in. So, but it can feel like it's drudgery, and so it's necessary for you to go in and every once in a while and make sure that you know that you are doing well, that you are, that money is coming in on a regular basis and that it is accumulating. Now, if you have Aquarius on the second house, then money can come in unexpectedly, or that money can go out unexpectedly. So this is that your income will fluctuate or your expenses will fluctuate. So if you have a job where there's some sort of commission or bonus structure, or you have a side business so that sometimes it's up and sometimes it's down, it's very harmonious with that Aquarius energy. If you're on a fixed income or you get a regular paycheck, then your bills can fluctuate, and it's very necessary that you have some sort of sinking fund. With Aquarius on the second house also, you tend to make what your peers make. And so if you want to make more money, you find richer friends. So if you have Pisces in the second house, then you have one of two directions you're going to go. You either are hyper-focused on money or you ignore money. And so this is that, and so money can flow in and it flows out, and money can slip through your fingers. And this is changed by recognizing any spiritual blocks that you have towards money. If you're angry with money, if you feel frustrated, if you can shift that to become in harmony with the energy of money, then money can flow in. And that's done through spiritual means, things like prayer, meditation, journaling, affirmations. And that's something we'll talk about in future videos. Now, there is much more to know about your money houses, and if you would like all of this information, I have a video course called Finding the Hidden Money in Your Chart. There is a link in the description. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe, join if you want to become a member, sign up for the newsletter, and I will see you in the next video.